Hey, Courtney and Sasha, who did the ghost invite to her party?
I don't know.
Who?
Anyone she could dig up. You're listening to Best Forevers, a podcast for kindred spirits, a podcast that encourages you to love more on your friends and to further consider issues that plague friendships. I'm Alysa Lucas, and I'm wrapped in nostalgia like my Barbie and the Rockers sleeping bag and my Annie pajamas that I had when I was a kid. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's my birthday week, and I'm going back to a friend-favorite event that often happen as part of the celebration. Slumber parties! This episode is going to talk about slumber parties in terms of benefits for friendship and how we friend through games, junk food, and literally zero sleep. And the first friends I invited to my slumber party are Courtney and Sasha from Spoop Hour podcast. Hello, friends.
Hello.
There they
Thanks for having us.
My mom said I could spend the night.
I'm going to stay up all night.
What time is your mom picking you up, though? I'd like to, sleep
She
in.
said I should just call her when I'm ready, but we have to be back in time for breakfast.
Dude, that is some awkward timing.
Right?
So Courtney and Sasha are my pod friends, and woo, they host the very funny and always spoopy paranormal podcast, Spoop Hour. So
You think we're funny?
I think you're hilarious. Do you want to say a little something about your podcast? So
Sure.
people probably are listening because they should be.
Better be.
Let's shame them into it.
Yeah, well, if you're not already listening, and yes, I'm talking about you, we're a paranormal comedy podcast. Sasha and I both are Halloweenies, which means we are terrified of literally everything. Everything.
We live together and we're worried constantly about someone being in our attic.
Yes, for sure somebody lives in there. I heard weird noises today. I don't love it. But
have you listened to that criminal episode when they talk about the person that lived in the attic?
There have been so many episodes of so many things about people in attics and people in walls, and I hate it. And every time I think, okay, well, that was the last one I'm going to hear for a while, then there's another one.
But to be fair, we recorded an episode about people in walls in our attics too.
So that's fine.
So you're doing it to yourself is what you're
Yes,
saying.
we do this to ourselves. Anyway, that's the whole thing. We do the whole thing to ourselves because even though we're afraid of everything, we love talking about spooky stuff.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So ghosts and cryptids and people living in walls and attics and all kinds of places they shouldn't be living.
Weird, mysterious disappearances, reappearances, possessions, all of that.
Aliens, whatever.
Yeah. Antique dolls.
The entire antique doll industry.
Me at antique dolls. I bet you were fun at slumber parties. Hey, it's just me and my antique doll.
I mean, who else is going to break out the Ouija board?
Growing up, I was not allowed to go to slumber parties.
What?
Yeah, so my first slumber parties were when I was 13 or 14. Mm-hmm. So by that point, I think everybody was beyond the let's watch scary movies and do the Ouija board. Because the first time I did the Ouija board was when we did it together for Spoop Hour.
It wasn't a slumber party, but there definitely was someone's 16th birthday that we went and watched The Ring.
Yeah.
And there was this one point where me and three other girls were huddled in the bathroom, and then I was like, wait, no. The bathroom was bad in the movie, so we had to go and hide under a dining table.
That movie needs to just die. That movie scares the bejesus out of me.
Once I started going to slumber parties, there was one. We always did theme ones, so most of them were romancy. So we'd watch rom-coms, and we'd always make shirts and stuff. But we did do one called Scarefest, where we just watched a bunch of horror movies, and I hated it.
I had better friends than that who didn't make me watch scary movies.
Genuinely,
Ring.
An hour into The Ring, I was just I'm going to go on the computer and I'm going to play solitaire.
Yeah.
So I'll still be in the room, but I'm not watching. I'm playing solitaire.
Can I tell you, I talked about this movie in my large lecture class as an example of how we consume media, and that we all don't like the same things. So some people get scared by movies, other people are like, this is great. So I talk about The Ring. I show a gif of that creepy ass chick with the hair in the face and the crawlies and the whatnot, and I swear to God, the phone in the room rang, and I picked it up, and I go, oh my God, I picked it up!
Why would you do that?
Did someone on the other line say 7 days?
No. Are you okay? Are you safe?
How many days ago was this?
I was being observed by my colleagues.
No!
They thought it was funny.
I mean, objectively, yes, that's pretty good.
Objectively, yes.
Objectively. But I would also be real mad.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh my God, this is really scary. So were you scared of slumber parties? Did you like going to them? What were your slumber parties like as kids? Or as tweens/teens?
Yeah.
Courtney?
I think I started going to slumber parties 4th grade. So like 9 or 10. And for the most part, they were all pretty fun. There were a couple of times where it wasn't an intentional slumber party. It was like my mom and her friends all, like, we would have like a family friend party at someone's house, and I would be playing in the basement with the other kids who are about my age. And then the moms would be like drinking upstairs, and then they drink too much, and so then the moms would have like their own like crash at the person's house. And so because my mom had to crash at their house, like I had to sleep over there too.
Yeah.
And I'd wake up and like I'd have like makeup on my face and stuff because the older girls were like practicing putting on makeup because I was the first one to fall asleep. And so I was always like traumatized by this because they'd gaslight me in the morning and be like,
no, you put it on before you went to bed.
You wanted this. And I was like, no, I didn't.
You wanted this.
You're like, this is the last thing I wanted.
This is the last thing. Yeah. And so it was like, no, not. So I learned my, from that experience to only sleep upstairs, like while the moms are being loud. But like for like my actual like, classmates and friends, like I tend to have like pretty good experiences. It was usually like, if I didn't party myself to like passing out, if I was like just awake and everyone else fell asleep, then it would be like scary for me a little bit. But I would just be like, it's okay, I'm safe here. Yeah. It was always bad if we told urban legends before we went to sleep, and then I wouldn't sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
obviously,
for the most part, they were always really fun for me. My scary story for later is going to be at my own house. So
oh my God, I can't wait. But then I'm also like, after this, I'm going to have to go to bed. So thanks a lot, Sasha. And when you're no longer a kid and you become adult, you have to like live by yourself and shit. So,
so it's not like,
my cats better protect me tonight.
But it also means that you can sleep with the lights on.
That's true.
And no one's there to judge you if you feel like sleeping with the lights on.
I can just like Hulu all night, and it's just like what everyone else does, right? Like on Twitter, they're like, I couldn't sleep. I binged all night. And I love how like slumber parties as a kid, it's just like such a treat to be able to stay up all night and talk to your friends. When you're an adult, you're like, why the hell can't I fall asleep?
Yes.
It's 11 p.m. I should have been asleep hours ago.
Exactly. That's me every night.
So, Courtney, what about your slumber parties? Now, you said you started a little bit later, so maybe people weren't into them as much as you were, or...
So, for me, I would get invited to slumber parties growing up, but because I wasn't allowed to attend them, usually I could go for like up until like 8:30, and then my parents would come pick me up. And so I just remember thinking like, oh my God, this would be the funnest thing ever to continue hanging out with all my friends, because I'd get to do like one activity and I'd be like, well, now I have to go home, but I bet they're going to do more activities. And that would be so cool. So it was really, that was a super bummer. So then when I got to the point where I was doing slumber parties, I was like, hell yeah. But at that point it was like, less about like who can put on lipstick the best without using a mirror, and more just like, we're gonna stay up all night and talk about what boys we like and whose hair is prettiest and
whatever. High school slumber parties I thought were the most fun because like my friends and I were not like hellraisers at all by any means, but it was an opportunity for us to let looser than our like honor roll selves would let us.
Did you toilet paper someone's house?
No, it would just be like dumb shit indoors where like, okay, for example, one girl had a treadmill in her basement and so we were all like running on it together and then like I hopped off and then my friend like sped it up a little more and so she's running and I was like trying to get back on it and I hit it. I knocked her over. We both flew off the end. Or like, just like you could get away with stupid shit like that and like, you know, shoving, you know, the whipped cream canisters like, into your mouth until like your face explodes and like just like weird shit you can get away with in the middle of the night that you couldn't like during the week. And that was always
you're like,
really
I'm trying to make honor roll. Friday night, double canister. Into the mouth.
We're baking cookies and watching Newsies.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
one of my first sleepovers was at my 8th grade best friend's house, Lauren. And at like, must have been like 11:30 or midnight. Her parents had been in bed for like 2 hours. And she goes, let's make cookies. And I was like, oh my God, we can make cookies. We can use the oven at midnight. Hell yeah. And so,
freedom.
Yeah. And so like we made snickerdoodles and she told me this story about a guy she went to school with who drank like a big spoonful of vanilla extract because he was like, it smells delicious and it's great in cookies. I'm going to drink it. And he regretted it. And like
nasty.
That was what I learned what snickerdoodles were. Ooh. I assumed it was just like a cookie with a Snickers bar in it.
Me too for the longest time.
Yeah, 8th grade at Lauren's house at midnight. I learned that's not what a snickerdoodle is. But it was just like, yeah, we can do this. Whatever. And like eating Pop-Tarts at like 2 a.m. and
but see, like the way you describe this, I'm now thinking back to like some of my best college roommate experiences were pretty much like prolonged slumber parties where we'd all just be awake in the living room doing our homework, eating ice cream out of, pints at 3 a.m.
Yeah. And like,
I think that's exactly right. And then we'll talk a little bit later, but like how now it's like girls' weekends or, those sorts of things that we might be trying to keep that going, having that experience. And then some people are having adult sleepovers. So for my birthday this weekend, my friends are coming over and we're having a slumber party. So I'm having 2 slumber parties this week. One with you guys and then one with my friends.
So fancy.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
I should do that for my birthday because I have a birthday this year where I turned 30.
Woo! Yeah. Hey, girl, hey. Well, that's the thing is you start to see, like I loved slumber parties. Like, I love the idea of them. And so I often had sleepovers around my birthday. Yeah. And then I had a slumber party one year where there was more people at it. And so I was just thinking about some of the things that I love about them. One of the things that I loved was the Brady Bunch episode. It's called The Slumber Party Caper. And Marcia asked her parents if she can have a slumber party. And they're waiting outside Mike's office while Mike and Carol talk about it. And they act like they're waiting to hear something from a doctor. That's like how nerve-wracking it is for Marcia. But then Cindy and Jan are also equally invested in like, oh my God, are we going to have a slumber party? So they finally approve it, and it's, like, super exciting because it's going to be our first slumber party, and Carol says, like, these are, critical to a young person's life, especially girls, and so Mike agrees, and which is funny because when the slumber party happens, they don't stay. They leave Alice in charge. And they're like, Alice, can you handle it? She's like, nothing, a short course in riot control. And that's a pretty good line.
Yes, I love it. Short course in riot control.
So, but Marcia gets in trouble at school. She draws what appears to be her teacher, and then underneath this says something about the teacher looking like a hippo. So she gets detention, and so her parents say, well, if you're punished at school, you're punished at home. And so, like, the devastation of having the approval of a slumber party and then that being taken away was, like, too much for Marcia. But then she's like, I didn't do it. That picture was George Washington. I was copying a picture that was on the wall. I didn't write the caption. And so her parents are like, we believe you. We don't know what happened, but we believe you. So the party's back on. But she thinks her best friend is the one who wrote the caption and got her in trouble. So she calls her friend up and says, I'm calling about the slumber party. And her best friend's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And she's like, yeah, well, it's for my friend. And she's like, damn, I'm your friend. And she's like, not anymore.
Ice cold,
Consider
Marcia.
yourself disinvited. Oof. And so, like, I really feel like this is something that spoke to me like early on as a kid. Is like, you want to be invited. It's like all this fun. Like Courtney, I can imagine like when you had to leave like at 8:30 and people were doing stuff that there are probably times where you wish you could have stayed, you know.
Every time.
Are they going to create these like inside jokes I'm not going to know anything about?
Yes.
But then also like, if you think you're going to be invited somewhere and then you're not, like this is a huge developmental aspect in friendship.
Yeah.
Right? So that one really stuck with me. But the other thing that I loved, and this is pretty obscure, and now I realize some people are like, the Brady Bunch is obscure, but I love the Brady Bunch. It's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And I was watching it before we recorded.
Yes.
So. But the second thing is, have you ever seen The Parent Trap, like the original?
Yes.
With Haley Mills. And then it was recreated with Lindsay Lohan. What people don't know is that there's a Parent Trap 2 when Haley Mills, who was the twins in the original trying to get her parents back together, there's a sequel for when they're adults. And then they're one of the Haley Mills characters, their daughter tries to get them hooked up with their best friend's dad. Right? So it's like another Parent Trap.
Oh my God.
So what they do is like they plan this night for their parents to get together, and so they have a sleepover. And so they make cookie dough, like you guys are eating now. You're having your sleepover, you know, snack, right? Well, then one of the things that always stuck with me, I always wanted to do it. They had this giant bowl of cookie dough, and then they start putting in nuts, and they put in chocolate chips, and then marshmallows and gummy worms, and just like all this stuff. And I was like, those sound like the best cookies.
You know you can do that now. You're an adult. You can go to the grocery store and buy whatever you want.
Courtney will send you her egg-free, salmonella-free cookie dough recipe, and you can just do that.
Need that.
Yeah, you just microwave the flour.
The problem. That's the problem with this slumber party is
we're not in the same
you're
room.
in the same room, and I'm in a different state. But
we're working around it.
So, but like in terms of my actual sleepovers, I would say that my friend Anne was always slept over for my birthday, and I don't remember anything we did. I don't know if we did activities like, did we roller skate first and then do this? Did we watch movies? Did we play Barbies? Like, I don't know. But there's so many pictures of us at breakfast the morning after eating cereal, and it was like the chance for me to have that sugary cereal that my parents never allowed. And my jam was Cookie Crisp.
Yes.
And so, did you have sugary cereals that are your favorites? Like, what's your Cookie Crisp?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, damn it. Yes, French Toast Crunch or Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But French Toast Crunch is so hard.
I like how you seemed mad like you could also.
Yeah, I just like,
Courtney called dibs on the box.
Dang it.
You can't have any of my
No, those are delicious.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and the rare occasion that we find French Toast Crunch, that shit's my jam.
Yeah. See, growing up, my parents, we always had cornflakes, Cheerios, Special K, Wheaties, and did I say Rice Krispies?
Not yet.
But now you
Yeah,
did.
Okay, those are like, you get the idea. But then we go visit my grandma and grandpa, and it'd be like Fruit Loops every day with butter white toast.
Yes.
So I do enjoy Fruit Loops. They remind me of my grandma and grandpa, and then I also like Apple Jacks.
Yes, Apple Jacks
those
too.
are my
Yeah, we always had Rice Krispies and like Special K and something like Bran or whatever.
And then you need to add a pound of sugar.
Yeah, it'd be like the rare occasion that I'd be in the grocery store with my mom and be like, please? And like me holding a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and she'd be like, only if we can mix half of it with like a plain cereal. And I'm like, okay. And now I can eat cereal for dinner.
Boom.
Boom.
Because I'm an adult.
But
besides those sleepovers with Anne, I had one major slumber party for my birthday. My birthday's on Flag Day, so my parents always had that as like the theme. Like I had flag cakes and like, you know, like, and so I
Meanwhile, the grocery store is like, really? You're ordering a cake for Flag Day? I mean, I guess.
They're like, it's not even 4th of July. It's like in between Memorial Day and 4th of July. They're like, you seem to be really confused.
It's like really early.
Yeah, best holiday ever. So I had I know there was food, and I know my mom gave everyone party favors because everyone left with, like, their own little mini flag. And I remember there not being any sleep because my dad got irritated because there was a bunch of girls, like, in the living room. And there aren't a lot of distance between the living room and my parents' bedroom. And so my dad was like, if you don't go to sleep, I'm going to sick my dog on you. And, like, everyone there was like, oh my God, except for me and Anne. And we're all like, yeah, whatever. Brandy, the Irish setter, is totally going to get us. And my mom said that we went underneath the dining room table and talked. And so those are like, I remember going to a lot of people's parties, but that's Ann Parker, my friend, was always at everything that I ever hosted for slumber parties. So, I mean, they were always fun. I find like sometimes you're invited to them and you're like, do I have to go?
Yeah. I don't think I had that. Or maybe I did, but I blocked out the ones I didn't go to.
I mean, again, for me, it was not a choice. So it wasn't like, I don't know that there was ever one where it was like, oh, I'm not allowed to go to slumber parties, darn. And it was like me getting out of something I didn't want to go to. But I will say, like, most of the sleepovers I had once I started being allowed to go to them, it would just be me and my 8th grade best friend. And I would spend the night at her house. She'd spend the night at my house. I had bunk beds. Like, how are you going to not let me have a sleepover when I literally have bunk beds? Yeah. But, like, we would just stay up till, like, 3 a.m. and we were essentially just playing the truth part of Truth or Dare. So we just, like, ask each other questions about, like, well,
you're too lazy for the dare part.
Well, yeah, because we're, like, in bed and we're, like, falling asleep. Yeah. But it's like, what would you do if so-and-so asked you out? Oh, I'd totally say no. Well, what would you do if so-and-so asked you out? Oh, I'd totally say yes. Because even though I don't like him, I think he's cool and I think we'd have fun. Like, it was just that for like 4 hours and it was awesome.
Yeah, I had a locked bed.
Oh, you okay?
I'm choking on laughter. As many people do at slumber parties.
That's true.
I had a loft bed in my bedroom and like a fold out cushion bed type thing. And like, I would have people sleep over like once in a while. It'd be like 1 or 2 other friends, and it would be the same thing, like just me on the top bunk and like other people on the floor, and like just chatting about whatever until like 3 a.m, forgetting that like my room is like 2 off from my parents. Or like the few times that I've had, like whenever I had slumber parties at my house, if we forgot to close the basement vents, the basement vent goes all the straight up to my parents' room. And we never said anything bad, but it was just more like we were noisy. Yeah. And so my mom would like have to like close the vent and like or like yell down the vent like, I can hear you. Pipe down. And we're like, no, oh my God.
Well, that's the thing is, like, there are some things when you start out, there's different events that are planned and you do different cutesy little things. And then as you get older, then it's like, Ouija board, truth or dare.
Let's play video games.
Let's toilet paper. Yeah. So, like, it does increase. But one that is generally clean fun is Mad Libs. So I got a Mad Libs that's about slumber parties. And so we're going to do the first one. I asked them for the words off mic. And so we can just go through it so we don't just spend 17 minutes for them trying to figure out what an adverb is.
That's an exaggeration. It only took us like 6 minutes to think of what an adverb is.
I know, that's fair.
Listener.
I'm an English teacher.
Sasha teaches the children
about adverbs.
Okay, well, so this one is called You're Invited. So, dear Sasha, I would like to invite you to a feathered sleepover party this Friday night at my Pluto.
Yay, I get to go to Pluto.
How am I going to get there? It's going to take so long. My mom's not going to want to drive me.
I live on the corner of South Asteroid Street
that makes sense.
and Keanu Reeves Lane.
He deserves his own street.
He does.
Please arrive swimmingly at 69 o'clock.
69 o'clock.
Hell yeah. My favorite time of day.
Don't forget to bring a purple sleeping drink and a soft spoon to rest your foot on.
Soft spoon? That is how I like to sleep at sleepovers.
We'll have pizza topped with eyeballs for dinner.
Yum.
And we'll watch a tasty movie.
Oh my God.
When it is time for bed, we'll change into our bees and turn out the mermaid.
I'm just imagining like one of those lamps that has like the mermaid as the base, then just.
But I like to think about bees, wearing bees. We'll change into our bees.
Like the bearded bee ladies.
That sounds awful. Then we'll tell curly ghost stories and talk about all the cute books at school.
Yes, actually, I would talk about all the cute books at
That
school.
was very close to actual sleepover things we would do.
Please RSVZ to me by email at OscarIsaac@OscarIsaac.com.
Yeah, buddy.
Hope you can join our heavy party.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Oh my God.
I can't wait for this party.
Mad Libs is the best.
I love Mad
Mad
Libs.
So that's something you can do if you're. One of the things is I just kind of want to celebrate slumber parties, but also like do some of the fun stuff. Because this is how people bond and friend is through these things. So, but one of the things that, and we're like a quarter of the way through already. It's like, but what is a slumber party?
What even is it?
What even is it?
We just don't know.
So one of the things, So according to a 2009 article by Hortense Smith, slumber parties are considered a rite of passage for young folks as they grow. They become more independent and then develop their relationships.
And they learn what
again,
head
Courtney, and I can imagine where you're like, I just want the rite of passage to stay past 8:30, to become more independent to stay past 8:30.
Right.
And develop my relationships past
8:30.
Yep. Past 8:30.
So, just maybe that should be the name of this episode. Past 8:30. So there are several terms for the overnight event, like pajama party, and we're all wearing.
We are wearing pajamas.
We're wearing our gym jams.
Jammy jams.
I'm wearing a Jonas Brothers t-shirt.
I'm wearing.
What are you wearing, Courtney?
I am wearing I got this shirt at an Australian Kmart, which is like classy Target. And
nice.
it says perfect, and it's got a little cat face, and I'm wearing my flamingo PJ pants.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention I am wearing other things.
She's wearing the Jonas Brothers shirt and nothing else. Jonas Brothers, if you're listening.
I can only see you from like the shoulders up, so you might as well not be wearing pants.
Yeah.
Okay, the boobs up.
Yeah.
There we go. So the Jonas
and
Brothers.
the Jonas Brothers shirt is from like 2006.
Oh my God,
I was
his
gonna say,
hair
that's
that long?
It's a little snug.
It's the long hair Jonas Brothers.
Oh man.
It is it's the burning up tour.
Yeah.
I saw them when they came to Penn State. I was the only adult that didn't have a child.
Oh boy.
Bless.
It was a good concert, and I was right because here they are back
Exactly.
now. Sasha, what pajamas are you
She's
wearing?
butt naked, everyone.
Yes. Naked as the day I was born. No, I'm
At a slumber
wearing
party.
a rainbow-colored Jurassic Park Disney shirt where it's the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, but he's got like a Mickey hat and a Mickey ice cream and a Mickey balloon, and it says "Wrong Park." And then,
But I bet that T-Rex is having the best day ever.
floral pajama pants.
So yeah.
Yeah, nice. I have on like a pajama dress and then the t-shirt over it. But I have my cat slippers.
Nice.
Like little cat.
Oh, those are
I like those.
so cute.
They have like cats on them.
Oh, I love them.
Like
That's
the cat
Cat
face.
face.
It's not just cats on a
Yeah.
slipper. It's like
a proper.
I'll post a photo. This isn't a visual
Medium.
But they're called pajama parties, so that might be why. And then one of my favorite terms for a slumber party comes from my friend Ellen, who grew up in the South, and they are called bunkin' parties.
Whoa.
We're gonna bunk
And I'm
tonight,
like,
right?
oh my God. They must have been the number one requirement was bunk beds.
Well, I thought, okay, in the Simpsons, like a very early episode of The Simpsons, when Homer becomes Lurleen Lumpkin's like country singer manager, she sings a song called "Bunk with Me Tonight," and and now I'm like, oh no, because I've always thought of bunking as like. Not
Adult
like
boy-girl stuff.
boy-girl stuff.
Gotcha. Oh, like
Or
romantic.
adult girl stuff or
Yeah,
adult
or
boy
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
It's 2019.
Adult
Adult
stuff. I'm doing a gesture, but
You're doing a gesture.
Yeah,
Boinking.
she is
Yeah.
doing a gesture.
Boink.
An inappropriate gesture. But a slumber party is a phrase that's typically used for a larger party. So it usually has 5 or more people, kind of like my Flag Day party. And it's more often used for girls. So we've genderized this.
Oh.
Boys typically don't call them slumber parties. They're called sleepovers.
Right.
And so sleepovers are typically 1 or 2 friends. And so I do think that there is some confusion over the term, because I think that even if you're referring to a slumber party for boys, it might be called a sleepover, because slumber parties are often associated with girls, right? You know, as if boys don't have these sort of events. And maybe they don't have them with Truth or Dare or the Ouija board, but they do other stuff like video games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I don't think my brother had as strict of a no slumber party rule as I did, but I also think it wasn't really an issue because that's not really how his friends did. And like the few times he would go over to a friend's house and spend the night, like in high school, it wasn't even called like spending the night. It was just like, I'm going to Ian's, I'll be back in the morning. We're like, okay, have fun. Yeah. Like it didn't even have a name.
Just like, what does the label mean? Hence why we might refrain from labeling it. So I was like, oh, good, something else we've genderized.
Great. Yeah, because I'm thinking about this one time when I was in high school. It was like a Friday afternoon, and a co-ed group of us were hanging out, and we went for a walk around this lake that we live near.
Hey.
And then we all went back to one kid's house, who was a boy, and his mom ordered us pizza and all this stuff, and it was just kind of like an impromptu hangout. And we were all watching a movie, and slowly we started dropping. Like, all of us started falling asleep on the couch or on the floor, and, like, some of the boys were, like, cuddled up with each other and, like, sleeping. And then most of the other girls had left at that point, and then me and one other girl were still there. And so about, like, 11 o'clock, like, before curfew, his mom came and, like, woke us up and was just like, hey, you know, like, I can drive you guys home. And the one girl was like, oh, no, I drove here. I'll drive Sasha home. And I know that we left all the boys back there, but I think for them it was just like called passing out at someone's house, you know? Like it wasn't like a slumber
We had a sleepover.
Party. Yeah.
It was just like I fell asleep while hanging out with my friends.
Yeah. Well, and I think it has become more of an issue than, say, when I was a kid in the 80s. And I don't want to say issue because it's not necessarily problematic, but it is probably something that needs to be planned for and considered. And that is co-ed sleepovers, right? You know, because it's like, is it like a boys only or girls only? Like, what if it's a bunch of girls and they have gay friends who want to come over? And, you know, they just have really close friends they've been friends with forever. And so it's like they miss out on that experience. And we'll talk about why it's can be devastating to miss out on those things.
Right.
So, but yeah, so here's the first fact. Slumber party means more and sleepover means less.
That makes sense.
Oh.
And there's no slumber or sleeping typically. So
usually, this is a fun fact about me. I'm such a fuddy-duddy even at sleepovers. I needed like some sleep. The one time at a slumber party, there was this girl from a different school who was friends with a friend whose house it was. And she was like, I haven't seen this friend since the 8th grade. I'm inviting her over for the slumber party. And that bitch would not let us sleep. Because like at like 3 in the morning, we're all like, okay, we're going to fall asleep because we're really tired and we're starting to feel gross because we want to go to sleep. And she would scream and throw stuff just to make sure that we were all awake. And I was like, I am going to murder you. Like, full on.
This is why we were like, I'm never having a sleepover with you ever again.
I know. I was like, you are not my friend after this. This is garbage.
You can,
girl from a different
school.
school.
Truly learn a lot about people by spending an extended amount of time with them, including like when they're tired and they're hungry, like over that period of time.
Yeah.
So this seems like a perfect time to play our second game, which is Would You Rather?
Oh, God.
Yes.
I know what head is now. I'm an adult.
These are clean.
Good.
Okay, so the first one will be for Sasha. Okay. Would you rather be able to turn water into pop or bread into cake?
Oh. Water into pop. I think. Yeah.
And you can always have pop.
I can always have pop.
Genius.
Yeah, I don't always necessarily want cake. Mm-hmm. But like today, I really wanted like something carbonated. And yeah there we go. Also, thank you for calling it pop. Midwesterner.
That's the only
That's the only word for carbonated fizzy drink is pop.
Exactly. Everyone who says Coke can see yourself right out of here.
Or soda.
Although I do prefer Coke beverages. Yes. Okay. Courtney, this one's for you.
Yay.
Would you rather have the ability to control the weather or to talk to animals?
Talk to animals.
Yeah. Okay, that was easy.
Absolutely.
Even like on a hot ass day and you can't control the temperature of your bedroom with the AC. With the AC.
Yes, that does suck.
Yeah.
But the ability to have a conversation with my cat would be rad, and with any cat that I come across. And like, this is breaking news for y'all because I haven't told y'all yet, but in October I'm going to get to meet a red panda in real life.
And you want to have that combo?
Yes, to tell the red panda and have it understand me how much they have meant to me these almost 30 years of my life. Like, that's worth sweating my ass off in a hot ass room.
Yeah. Yeah. I would pick talking to animals too, just because I'm like, oh God, even if it was only for a day, just to be able to talk to Rooney and Ferguson would be like the best day.
It would be so good.
Rooney, how do you feel about Ferguson?
I don't want to talk about this. Just because we can't doesn't mean we should.
I have so many cats.
Right? Think about it.
Ferguson would be like, I have so many things to talk to you about. Okay, this one's for you, Sasha. Would you rather never eat French fries or pizza again?
French fries. Because I love pizza.
Yeah. I think.
And pizza, you can really jazz it up in different
I was just
ways.
thinking about and pizza.
Oh, God, to lose that
I would never want to lose that chain ever.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Oh, my God.
Okay.
Are they open now? I'm like in my pajamas, so it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I need someone to deliver. Courtney, are you ready for this controversial question?
One. Yes.
Would you rather go to work dressed as a clown or a magician?
Magician.
Why?
Because if I go to work dressed as a clown, I'm going to terrify everyone there. We also live in an area where for a while we were just having clowns show up in the woods. And it was like a legitimate thing where
in 2016 we were one of the areas where there were just like clowns in the woods.
And they'd be like carrying a weapon.
We talked about you in my lying and deception class.
Yeah. So like
it would not be funny.
It wouldn't go well for me because then somebody's gonna call the cops like I've spotted the clown. And like magicians, I've been low-key working on a magician Halloween costume for a while. I could just get like a cute little blazer and wear this cute little white tank top and sash it with around the waist, something a little red cummerbund, get a little top hat, and just be such a cutie patootie. Yeah, get a cape.
She even has like a magician's hat kit.
You had me at cape.
Right? Yeah. Magician.
Good. Okay. So
Virginia doesn't fuck with clowns.
No, we really don't.
Yeah, I guess not.
After that, we're like, clowns, no.
No. Sasha, would you rather grow horns or a tail?
Horns.
How dare you? Tail, obviously.
I feel like I would sit on it and like I already have like a weak back, so I feel like the tail would like get in the way. I'd like hurt my back again.
I assume that the tail would help because it'll balance you out.
Balance me out.
What do horns do? Nothing.
Aesthetics.
If I can look like Angelina Jolie for Maleficent, then heck yeah. Tail. Give me the horns.
Tail.
But see, then I could, if I had horns, then I could show up to people's baby showers.
I am the gift.
I am the gift. The tail, I feel like it would be just like weird and in the way, or like I would constantly bump people with it. Like
where's that gonna go in my clothes? I have to like adjust all of my clothing.
Oh, see, I mostly wear dresses, so I'm just gonna cut a little baby hole in there.
But you still have to cut a baby hole in there. You know?
Oh, but
I just worry about inconveniencing other people, like whacking them when I'm like walking in a crowd.
Also, for me, horns is a consideration because I have bangs and my hair is already so finicky. What are the horns gonna do but mess up my hairline?
You could probably put the bang around it, probably keep it in place.
Well, probably not, because then my bang's going to reveal how giant my forehead is, and the horn is just going to call attention to it.
Maybe, the horn could come out of your giant forehead.
I don't want anything out of my giant forehead.
Is it one horn or two horns?
That's the whole point of the bangs, is so that no one notices the giant forehead.
I want the Maleficent.
I want the Maleficent horns, too.
Horns, so this is what I'm thinking of. Okay, last one. This one's for Courtney. Would you rather be able to shoot fire or ice out of your fingers?
Ooh. I'm going to give a very Slumber Party answer to this. In that it is evoking my childhood. I would rather shoot ice. Because in the 6th grade, my 6th grade best friend and I created this game at recess that then turned into a novel that we worked on for a long time about wherein we were fairies, and I was the ice fairy.
Wow.
And they were the fire fairy. So for me, I've had this like lifelong thing within me where I'm like, ice powers, ice powers, ice powers. Plus,
well, that question was perfect for you, then.
Right? And so, like, especially considering that I just gave up on controlling the weather, now I get to have a conversation with animals, and if I overheat, I'm just going to shoot some ice over myself and have a little nice ice blanket.
And the funny thing is, I had this conversation with people the other day. I don't know how it came up, but it was the same, would you rather shoot fire out of your hands or water? Was this on our podcast the other day? No.
No.
Who was I talking?
I don't know.
I was talking to someone about this. But basically, I was saying that I feel like shooting fire out of your hands could cause more harm than good.
Yeah.
And shooting water is like, if I want to be like a superhero or whatever, I could go help put out like forest fires and stuff.
Yeah. Like, because if you shoot ice out and then it just freezes and then it breaks off, so.
Yeah. And like, if there is a forest fire, I shoot ice at that. Guess what? It's going to sublimate and it's going to add a lot of moisture to the air, which is going to naturally put out the fire.
Right. But so having fire hands,
like
I feel like I can't help anyone.
No, you really can't.
So, love it. These are the kind of games that we can do at slumber parties. There's so many things you can do at slumber parties. And so we're going to start this section with one of the classics, and that is cootie catchers.
Yay!
Cootie catchers are little paper. I swear to God, I made one today. It's like it was 30 years ago. Like it was riding a bicycle.
It's amazing.
It was so easy to put together. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
I'm back. Yeah. So I love making cootie catchers. If you're not familiar, they are the little paper fortune teller that kind of looks like a mouth. I specify because, as it turns out, my coworkers did not know what a cootie catcher was. And then I made it, and they go, that's just a paper fortune teller. And I'm like, what kind of garbage name is that? It's a cootie catcher.
Did you ever go to a slumber party?
Yeah, I started going when I was 13 like a normal person. And even I know it's called a cootie catcher. So I made us two. So you can pick which one we want to start with. You have the classic celebrity husband. Ooh. Or a special one I did with slumber parties in mind, hearkening back to the time when we were most likely having slumber parties. This is the middle school, high school cootie catcher.
Okay, can I want to do both? Can we do one now and do one at the end?
Yes, which one do you want to do first?
Okay, celebrity husband. Okay. I'm so excited.
Alysa or Sasha, who wants to go first?
Alysa.
Alysa, black, teal, purple, or red?
Teal.
Teal. 7, 5, 2, or 8?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 6, 4, or 1?
1.
Idris Elba.
Oh, that's my real celebrity husband that I want in my
real
own
life.
And you just married him. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yay! Oh, Idris Elba, I love you.
You should. You just married him.
Yay!
All right, Sasha, you ready for yours?
Yes.
What color do you want?
Purple.
Purple.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
3.
John Cho.
Oh!
Ooh.
All right, Courtney, what color?
I want red.
RED.
2.
1, 2.
7.
7. Okay.
You know who's behind that,
I don't
you?
because
Is it
I don't
Oscar
know.
Isaac?
I mean, I hope so.
Gareth Reynolds.
Hey! I put him in for you. What? I'm so sorry. I didn't realize he was. What? I'm telling Idris.
I didn't see that coming.
I forgot that I included him for you, but I was like, I can't do celebrity husband with Dr. Alysa Lucas without including Gary
favorite
Reynolds.
Podcaster ever.
That's so funny.
Oh. That's okay.
We can trade.
Elba's fine.
Rewind the tape like 30 seconds.
Here's what you do. No, you have your editor cut the Idris part from you and put it with me, and cut the Gareth Reynolds part from me and put it with you.
Well, except when you said Gareth, I went, what?
What?
Although, no, seriously, Idris Elba's on my list, though.
Yeah.
So Thank you.
You're welcome.
And he's going to be in the new Fast and Furious spinoff of Hobbs.
Yeah,
Shaw and Hobbs or whatever.
That one looks like a fun friendship movie, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, that didn't take as long. Should we do the second
You want to do it?
cootie catcher now?
Yes, or we can do second celebrity husband, because, sometimes marriages don't work out.
That's true. Let's do second celebrity husband,
okay.
and then we'll move to the next one.
Alysa, black, teal, red, or purple?
Black.
BLACK. 3, 6, 4, or 1?
4.
3, 6, 4, or 1?
1. Nope.
You already did that one.
It's because I like the number.
You divorced
3.
him and
no,
him.
wait.
We already did
that's
3.
John Cho. Say
So
the other
6
numbers
or
again.
4?
6.
Uh-oh. Tom Cruise.
No!
Boo! Okay.
Keep Idris.
No,
Keep
I don't
Idris.
like this second marriage. This is awful. Do I have to find a couch to jump on to show how upset I am?
It's okay. I'm sure Idris will take you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe after Tom Cruise, you and Gareth Reynolds will find each other.
Yeah.
Who would want to date me after that?
Gareth Reynolds.
Reynolds.
He'll see your true inner beauty, even though you were married to Tom Cruise.
Right.
All right, Sasha. Hubby number 2.
Red.
RED.
5.
I guess on this one, you did 6 just then? Or 4?
I think I did 6.
Okay. So do you want to do 4?
4. Because
You can have Tom Cruise if you want.
I don't think you're going to want to because you just got Oscar Isaac.
Woo! Wait, can I put an addendum on Tom Cruise? Can it be Top Gun Tom Cruise?
Sure.
like pre
Like volleyball
Scientology.
scene of Top Gun?
You can marry him whenever you want.
All right, Courtney.
Okay. I'm going to go teal.
TEAL.
2.
1, 2.
5.
Guy Fieri.
Yes! Welcome to
Welcome to Flavor Town. I love it.
See, and this is free fun. It's a sheet of paper, and it's fun for hours.
It took me like 3 minutes to make this, and it's paid off in
mine
spades.
has actual. The one I made has lame fortunes on it.
let's do
that
it.
one
Let's
next.
do it.
Let's
Let's
do that
do
one
it.
next.
Like, everybody shut up. We're doing it.
Red, lime, orange, or brown.
Lime.
LIME. 5, 6, 1, or 2. I'm reading it upside down.
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 7, 3, or 8.
7.
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, see, that's the fun part.
You will find a treasure.
Ooh.
I found one. It's over there. It's Zelda.
I was going to say, the real treasure was the friendships we made along the way.
Or that cat.
Or that cat. It can be both.
Courtney, lime, red, orange, or brown.
Orange.
ORANGE.
Laurel.
1, 2, 5, or 6.
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 7, or 8.
3.
You will marry someone famous.
Oscar Isaac!
Gareth Reynolds, goddammit!
Oh, sorry, I gotta take this. This is Gareth Reynolds calling me. I wonder what he wants to ask.
Oh, you need to get out of here with that. And, but I'll do it for me.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll do brown. BROWN. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll go with 2.
Gareth Reynolds!
You will marry Gareth.
No, it says, you will get the hiccups very soon.
Oh, no, not the hiccups.
No.
I'm married to Tom Cruise and
he got
I have the
hiccups.
hiccups. It's the
This
worst.
would never have happened if you married Gareth Reynolds.
So there's lots that can happen at slumber parties. This is like the most fun. And so really easy, lots of things to do. And so I asked people on Twitter, and so a lot of people like the Book of Lies podcast and Twitter listener Jamie Lynn both said dance parties or Just Dance. Jamie said Just Dance was our go-to in middle school. My friends and I would wear our fuzzy PJ pants and see who could dance the best. The loser would have to clean up the basement the next morning.
Oh, no. That's such a wholesome punishment, though.
And then a number of people talked about staying up late and watching movies. My friend Bia, who's been on the podcast, talked about my friend's parents had HBO, which was a big deal in the late 1970s. HBO. I remember watching the original Superman with her. We'd make tents out of pillows and blankets and eat crappy food. It was so much fun. My student Hannah talked about staying up late so we could watch movies and talk about boys and try to hide the next morning when my parents came to pick me up so I wouldn't have to leave. Oh. And then Liz from Nerdy Bitches podcast, shout out, whoop whoop. So she says, current day Liz despises horror movies, but junior high Liz loved them and forcing my friends to watch them during slumber parties.
Oh, God.
I was also always the last to fall asleep and the first to wake up because I heard terrible things about what people did to sleepers.
Oh, no.
Another Twitter listener said, Kirsten said, we played in the basement with Barbies and Bratz dolls for hours, then watching an early 2000 movie on DVD to fall asleep. I never fully watched Mean Girls until high school because we would wake up with the menu screen song playing on repeat.
That was me with, I think, Nightmare Before Christmas. I kept falling asleep during that at every sleepover.
Save the Last Dance. Yeah. I've never seen it all the way through. I was going to say, what
was your movie? Yeah. Because another damn movie podcast talked about, we always watch the same two movies, Emperor's New Groove and Legally Blonde. Nice. And we could go through them practically line by line.
Amazing.
I remember going over to my friend Allison's house, and Anne was often, like, the three of us are friends and with some other people. And so I remember we watched The Breakfast Club, and then we watched The Man in the Moon. There's the one, the Jim Carrey one. I think it's Man on the Moon. It's Man in the Moon, I think. And it has Reese Witherspoon when she's a little girl in it. And so it's a really touching tale. I don't want to spoil it. But it's basically about sort of, they move to this area, I think. And there's like a boy that she has a crush on, but he likes her sister.
Devastating.
So it's kind of, yeah, it's super good. So this is probably more up my alley too. Brooke Reading Podcast said, when my kid best friend and I slumbered, we watched all the VHS tapes of New Kids on the Block concerts and eat what felt like pounds of cookie dough.
Nice.
Best times. And let's see. And then the final people talked about just doing crazy ass stupid shit. Mystic Howlstorm said, chilling with friends and doing crazy ass stupid shit that as an adult I've yelled at my kids for doing.
But do they do it at slumber parties?
Yeah. And then Augie Peterson talked about Augie, whoop, whoop. She said, I will always be a big fan of sliding down the stairs in a sleeping bag.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, God.
She said, then I nearly broke my neck and it stopped being fun.
Oh, my God.
So what are some of the other, I mean, we've talked a lot about it. You said Ouija board. I remember doing like light as a feather, stiff as a board. Watching movies, like now there's all these Pinterest boards you can do, like they have like spin the bottle, but instead of it being spin the bottle, it's spin the nail polish bottle.
Oh, cute. That's adorable.
And then you get to pick your nail polish. So there's all sorts of different things.
Super cute.
You always have to have a plan. You have to have activities throughout the night. So one of the other ones that people participate in is what's called MASH.
Yes.
Mash.
Okay. So, do one of you want to explain what MASH is?
I sure do. So, MASH, much like the cootie catcher, is another way of predicting your future. So, you get 4 choices in each category, 2 good, 2 bad. So, you get to pick the 2 good ones, and then your friend picks the 2 bad ones. So, you hope they're merciful, especially when it comes to, like, number of children and future spouse. But, you know, where's the fun in that? So, basically, you go through, and then they start drawing lines or do a spiral or whatever. You tell them to stop, and that's how many. And then they just keep crossing off until you find out where you're living, if it's a mansion, apartment, shack, or house, the titular MASH, who you're married to, what kind of job you have, what kind of job they have, how many kids you have, etc., etc.
It's great, wholesome, terrifying fun.
It is.
When you're a 4th grader and you're like, oh!
I don't want to marry Mr. Bean.
I don't want to give him that. Yikes.
So we're going to do it, and we'll have you both do it. And so I'll implement it. So the first thing is, who are your crushes? So, Sasha?
I'm guessing it's more fun for the podcast listeners if we do, like, not real people we know.
Yeah.
Because it'll be less hilarious if we're like, my boyfriend. Yeah. And this guy you don't know.
No actual boyfriends are allowed.
Yeah. Get out of here.
So go like celebrities.
All right, John Mulaney.
Ooh, good choice.
Okay. Yeah. Who else do I find? Joe Jonas.
Yeah.
That's a weird.
I have to look up which is the one.
Oh, Courtney, what do you want for her two bad crushes or bad?
Uh-oh. I kind of want Sasha to go to Flavortown. I want to say Guy Fieri again.
Say it. That's not a bad crush. That's just
no, but I feel like
unique crush.
I feel like he's very intense, and that's going to be a lot for you. And who else?
But I get to go to Flavortown like every day.
Yeah, I bet you do. And I'm going to say the other Jonas, the one who's still religious, Kevin. Yes.
Oh no.
No. All right, Courtney, who are your crushes?
Oscar Isaac, obviously.
Obviously.
And let's do Jack Whitehall. He's a British comedian.
I thought we were doing people that we know.
Sorry. He's too obscure. I'll do John Cho. He's safe.
John Cho is good.
John Cho. Yeah.
I thought you said John Chill, and I was like, wow,
he's
cool.
so chill.
All right, he's so chill.
Sasha, what do you want her other crushes to be?
Ooh. My first thought was the guy who murdered Gypsy's mom.
Oh my god!
But I love. No. But the actor who plays in the Job Kid.
Yeah, the guy who also played Alex Trimboli in American Vandal.
Okay,
and he's in an episode of Psych. In the episode of Psych at the Gifted Kids School, he's the redheaded gifted kid.
Okay, Gypsy's boyfriend from the act.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right, second one.
Second one.
I mean, it's going to be hard to get worse than that. Like
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. There we go.
I see someone is still salty. That's not my
salty.
fault.
But see, that's like a traditional sleepover.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Sasha, name two places.
Venice.
Ooh.
Okay.
And LA.
Okay.
LA.
Courtney, two places that you pick for Sasha.
I'm mad about Alex Trimboli. Go ahead and put down the Nevada Clown Hotel.
And the second one?
And the second one. Literally any high school.
Oh, God.
Literally.
All right, Courtney, how about you? What are your two places?
Iceland. And New Zealand.
Sasha, what do you got for her?
See, it's a dangerous game because, like, now I've struck out at her and now she can strike back.
Yeah.
Deep jungle rainforest.
I'm not mad at it. There might be sloths.
Yeah, but there'll be a lot of bugs.
There'll be a lot of bugs, but there might be sloths.
Probably a lot of spiders.
All right, one more.
Death Valley.
Oh, it's so hot there.
Maybe.
All right, Sasha, two numbers.
1 and 2.
Courtney?
13.
And 16.
I was, and yep, 69.
That's how many goals the women's soccer team got against Thailand today.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
That's very high.
A lot.
Yes, a high score. That's a lot of children, too.
Yeah.
Courtney, second number.
69.
Courtney, your two numbers.
0 and -1. I take
Sasha,
someone
your
else's
two
child
numbers?
away from her. That's what -1 means.
32
Ugh.
and 55. 55.
All right, Sasha, what is your two jobs?
gardener, and
public speaker.
Let's just go with teacher. I'll just keep my job.
Courtney, what other 2 jobs did you give Sasha?
Chicken sexer. Oh no.
What?
That's where you have to grab the chicks and like look at their cloacas to determine what kind of chicken they are.
Chicken sexer.
And it's called a chicken sexer. And
Dear Lord.
Gosh, what else would Sasha not enjoy? I feel like plumber. Feel like you
no,
would.
but I remember I was like victorious.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
but that's like mess that you know. That's not rando stranger
okay,
mess.
yeah, plumber.
Yeah.
Courtney, what are your 2 jobs?
Let's see here. Because I've been watching a lot of it. Writer for Bob's Burgers.
Oh, you'd be good at that.
I just want to make puns all the time.
And your second one?
Sign language interpreter. Ooh.
Nice.
Sorry, actual job.
Sasha, get her back. What are her 2 jobs?
Spider
I'm
wrangler.
thinking.
It's not a real job.
Let's see.
I see you Googling.
Yeah, I'm just
Don't care for that.
Let's see. Let's see. An entomologist. And
I can do the research side of it.
an arachnologist.
No! Spider wrangler.
All right, so you can do more for MASH, but we'll stop there. And I'm going to do the circle for Sasha first. So I'm going to start, and you tell me when to stop.
Okay.
All right, I started.
All right, stop.
Okay.
Enjoy your 69 children.
Courtney, I'm starting.
Okay.
You tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, so let's see. We'll cut this out because they don't want to hear.
Hear you counting and scratching things off.
All right, we have some results that take some time, folks.
Oh.
And here's the thing, if you're a parent, have your kids do this because it'll entertain them for like an hour or so.
Just have them draw the swirl really, really, really big so that they're only crossing one every like 27. So then they just have to keep going through till they're all gone.
Yeah, Sasha had 10 and Courtney had 7, so that's what I had to count and then cross off.
Solid.
I'm glad I didn't wait too long.
You are getting married to John Mulaney.
Yay! No flavor
You
town
will
for you,
live
I
in
guess.
LA with your 13 beautiful children.
Birth control.
And you'll have to find daycare so that you can go to your job as a chicken
No, wait, hold on. Are they human children or like can I refer to them as like, oh, my dog is my child?
They're human children. You know they're human children.
Ferguson's my child, so you can work it out on your end. All right, Courtney. So not
the
half
worst,
and half of what you wanted.
Chicken sexer.
Chicken sexer. Okay.
You get
Okay,
paid good
so-
money. That's why I thought of it, because I remember reading the article about how you make like $80,000 a year.
That's more than I make as a teacher.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be a chicken sexer.
You just got to grab chickens and look at some butts.
Wow.
Like little tiny chicken butts. And
Career
then you put them down
change.
one tube or the other.
Career change. Courtney, I think you'll like this.
Uh-oh.
You'll be living in Iceland.
Ooh.
So that's exciting. And one of the interesting things about Iceland is how small the population is. So you're really going to increase it with your 32 children.
Yay! But because Sasha implemented this rule, that would be 30 cats and 2 red pandas. Or no, sorry, 28 cats,
And-
2 red pandas, and 2 dogs.
Do you think red pandas
Well, and you'll
be
have
okay
to share
in
those duties with your husband, who
mothers.
is Gypsy's boyfriend from the act. But you'll probably throw yourself into your carear because you're a writer for Bob's
Yes,
Burgers.
those puns won't write themselves.
Yay.
But no, red pandas are native to the Himalayas.
Yeah,
They
that's true.
love Iceland. It'll be fine.
That was a good game of MASH.
I'll kill my
Yeah.
husband. They'll never find his body in the fjords.
You
gotta be fine.
You can feed them to the cats.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, the red pandas will take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so So then I think maybe what's really important here is that we talked about all this fun stuff, right? All the things that you can wear, you can do, all the good times, the MASH, the Mad Libs, the cootie catchers, all the good stuff. And so this is why slumber parties are important, because for friendship, it is where you develop your friends, right? This is where you get together and where friends actually friend, right? So slumber parties are a fixture of childhood, and it is absolutely important to understand friendship early in life. And so this is something that can help people build those relationships, right? And so I really like this quote from Caroline Kitchener from The Lily. It says, quote, "One friend brought the Cheetos, another brought a Blockbuster DVD. Someone else brought a list of phone numbers for the boys in their class that they planned to prank call." Yes. Together, they descended into someone's parents' unfinished basement, carpeting the floor with pillows and fleece blankets. Quote, "The space transformed into our own cocoon of friendship," said Christine Schmidt, who writes a newsletter on friendship. "Once the lights were off, everyone tucked in sleeping bags. They whispered their secrets, conflict at home, deeply felt insecurities, the name of a crush. The kind of night," Schmidt told me, "was magic," right? So those are some of the things that might be really the first time to be able to have those conversations. And so that 2009 article I talked about earlier also said, "For many of us, a sleepover party is an ultimate sign of bonding. When you're in elementary and middle school, only your best friends get invited to stay over to eat Doritos and play Dream Phone until 3 in the morning." In high school, my group of friends would usually have a sleepover every weekend. We spend the night talking about everything from boys to books. We were nerds. It said, "To our fears about going away to college and leaving our homes behind. We also still played Dream Phone and ate Doritos."
Nice.
Tradition, end quote, right? And so you can really start to build these traditions. And one of the things is that with slumber parties, you get to stay up way past your bedtime, which, as we talked about earlier, isn't so fun when you're an adult and you're trying to sleep, right? And you need that rest. But when you do it with friends, it makes the experience much more fun and more important. It's a long period of time spent together over a short amount of time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So in a day, you'll spend a lot of time together. And it gives you a chance to bond with others, to develop friendships, or reinforce connections for friends. So, for example, I went to go see My Favorite Murder live with some of my friends. We rode to Detroit. We had dinner. We hung out before the show. We laughed through the show, and we drove back. And it was a lot of fun. But it was the time that we spent chatting in the middle of the night after we got home from the podcast that was much more meaningful to our relationship, right? It's like, yeah, we went to see My Favorite Murder, which was a lot of fun, but it was that part that I remember is the talking. So on Twitter, one of my former students, Jacob, talked about one of the favorite moments or the favorite parts about slumber parties for him was the conversations. You get up at 3 a.m., everyone else is asleep, and it's the best time to discuss topics or disclose information that you wouldn't feel comfortable in a normal setting. MJ Lives talks about having those deep conversations when the lights were all out before we fall asleep. Like those are the magic moments, right?
Thinking about that, I can feel that feeling where it's exciting because you're sharing so much of yourself, and it's just you feel safe, and it's let's do this.
And you're in the dark,
so it doesn't matter,
right?
Yeah.
Like if you're right before you're about to fall asleep, it's you don't have to make eye contact.
You're just relaxed,
And I love that they called it a friendship cocoon. I'm oh my God, so cool. So the Lily article that I already mentioned talks about this, which I think is really interesting to the idea of slumber parties. Quote, "The routine of a slumber party can be powerful too. The particular acts that make up a sleepover, getting ready for bed, falling asleep, moving around the kitchen in the morning." And this is sort of what Deborah Tannen, who is a researcher in the general communication area, calls a meta message of closeness to everyone involved. Because we typically move through these kinds of routines alone with a romantic partner or members of our immediate family, she says, we instinctively feel closer to friends who experience them with us, end quote. So it's those usually are by yourself, with family, and so to be able to do it with friends, it's bringing them into something they normally wouldn't be a part of, right? So, in fact, girlfriendcircles.com says there are still few experiences that accelerate our intimacy and deepen our hearts, having unrushed time together that includes talking until ready for bed and waking up in the same place together. And one of the students at Central posted on Twitter, she says, "As crazy as it sounds, breakfast the next morning is my favorite part. My friends' parents used to make us huge breakfasts, and it was always fun to sit around the table with the group and sometimes the parents and just talk about life.
Yeah.
Right? Just like having breakfast together. And her name's Madison. And of course, to pull this all together, this feels like an absolutely necessary source to use here. The Girl Scouts talk about the memories girls have from the fun, the laughter, and chats overnight. But sleepovers also provide a lot of skills for young children. You can grow in developing resilience, confidence, and generosity. So sleepovers are important. Like, I get parents who might not want to have their kids do sleepovers. There are a lot of articles when I was doing research about figuring out the time when sleepovers are best for kids, and that seemed really helpful. But what's interesting is, like, it shouldn't just be about for kids. It should be like, we're having a sleepover now, technically.
Yeah.
We're having a sleepover this weekend and that sort of thing, and just talking about that time we spend together. It might not be quote-unquote a sleepover, but a girls' weekend, a night over somewhere. We need to continue this because that's when we have those, like, really special moments of bonding and connection. And that's what I love about sleepovers.
Yeah, I just read an article a few weeks ago that was like the case for adult sleepovers, and they were talking about some of the girls' trips and saying, like, you know, girls' trips seem like kind of the last bastion for that. But they were saying, but those require a lot of time and planning and money. They're like, just invite your friends to sleep over.
Yeah.
You know, crack open a bottle of wine and, like, prank call some people. Slide into someone's DMs.
And Sasha, you mentioned earlier, like, how it wasn't like planned sleepovers. Like, the parents would, like, drink, and then it's like, I guess we're staying the night, you know?
Exactly.
And my friend Sean, she just was telling me about how they had a sleepover for their children. So it was like the moms had a sleepover.
Oh, that's nice.
Then there were the older girls, and then there were little sisters. Nice. And so they, like, rented a farmhouse, and each had, like, their own space. And, like, the girls had bunk beds in their space, and, like, the moms had wine, and the older daughters played this game, and the younger girls played this game. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds amazing.
That's so cute.
It's 3 generations of sleepover in one.
I know.
It's amazing.
It's so adorable.
So, okay. So one of the things is, as it gets later into the sleepover is when scary stories happen. And so, Sasha, do you want to share a scary story with us?
Yes.
And then the other scary stories that we're going to share, I'm going to come back on Spoop Hour, and we're going to have all sorts of scary stories.
Woo!
So, but we got one from Sasha right now.
So I've talked about this story on Spoop Hour a while back. I think it was probably
an early
episode. But I was, like, thinking about this again more recently when you mentioned this Slumber Party episode, and also a few months ago, my dad found a crate of photos, like a storage bin of photos. From, like, the 90s and early 2000s, and I had forgotten that I had taken photos at this one sleepover. And I was, like, looking through them and realizing, oh, this is from that night. So the party was at my house. I had made all these, like, cute little invitations that looked like sleeping bags, and I was, like, really proud of myself. This is probably, like, 5th or 6th grade. And I gave them only to, like, my closest friends. And my best friend at the she's still one of my good friends now, but, like, my 4th grade best friend and I ate, like, too much French onion dip, and so we designated the laundry room as the tooting room, and it was this, like, cute little thing, because we weren't going to fart in front of our friends, but we definitely needed to fart, right? She and I talk about this still, and we're, like, both almost 30. This has happened, like, almost 20 years ago at this point.
French onion is a risky choice.
It's a risky choice.
Slumber party.
Yeah, but it was delicious.
It is.
And I got a bunch of balloons to, like, decorate the space with, and we had all, you know, this is much later at night, we had all kind of, like, put our sleeping bags out, and turned off the lights, and we were still chatting, and one of the girls, whose name was Kathy, was this, like, tall, pale, skinny girl, and was kind of quiet, but she was still, like, part of our, like, cohesive group in the elementary school. And she had fallen asleep first, and she was tucked in up to her chin, like, and it was kind of cute. But as we were talking, and it was getting later and later, and we started talking about scary stuff and more serious stuff, we noticed that the balloons had all started sinking.
Oh, fuck this.
And we were like,
it's gonna get worse.
Uh-oh, why are the balloons sinking? Haha, that's funny, it's kind of creepy. Okay, and so we, like, kept talking for a little bit, and then we noticed that all of the balloons, like, had kind of migrated to, like, one corner of the room, which is the corner of the room where Kathy had already, like, put out her stuff and was sleeping. And the balloons kept like sinking closer and closer and closer to Kathy. And then they started bobbing up and down and in a circle around Kathy.
What the No.
20 years later, I still don't have an explanation for this, but I know, like, whenever I talk to Natalie, I'm like, do you remember that time with the balloons and Kathy? She knows exactly what I'm talking about, because we're still kind of...
Is Kathy a witch, or...
I don't know.
She wasn't before then, but now for sure.
But now she's definitely a balloon witch.
She's more balloon than human at this point.
But yeah, and
that
then the
is
next,
creepy.
So the rest of us, there's like 5 of us who are awake, and like Kathy who's asleep, but she's the only one who's asleep. We're all wigging out, like we're just freaking out. And then the next morning, Kathy wakes up. She slept through the whole thing because we were like, Kathy, are you awake? Like, because we wanted to see like if she would wake up, you know, if she heard us talking or freaking out, she would like sit up and be like, oh, what are you guys doing, right? Mm-hmm. And we were like, Kathy, are you awake? Kathy. And like she has no reason to not wake up, right? And so the rest of us were like, and so we moved all the balloons into the tooting room because we were like, we cannot have this right now. So we very like delicately stepped around her and ushered the balloons into the other room. Like we're not dealing with this.
I'm like free. Like as soon as you start talking about these balloons, I'm getting like chills. I'm like, no.
So
I don't like this stuff at all because it's like it kind of reminds me of like I'll just be sitting in my room, maybe like on my phone, or I'm reading, or I'm watching TV or something, and then Ferguson comes in. He's all like, "Hey, Mom," and then all of a sudden he'll just like look somewhere and just like stare off for like 20 seconds, and I'm like, that better be a goddamn bug. That better not be a ghost.
So I have no explanation for why the balloons are bobbing in a circle around Kathy, but well, that's the thing that happened.
I think instead of going to get a non-caffeinated beverage, I might be getting some Coke Zero so that I don't sleep tonight because I don't know if I want to because I'm gonna have bad dreams about balloons.
Would it help you to find out your middle school cootie catcher fortune?
Yes, please tell me.
Yes. Okay.
Let's do it. And then I'll end with the last Mad Libs.
Perfect.
This is perfect. Let's do it.
Pink, blue, mauve, or green?
Pink.
P-I-N-K. 2, 5, 4, or 7?
2.
2, 5, 4, or 7?
7.
You'll get caught skipping. Uh-oh.
Actually, speaking of, so I have my laptop sitting on top of a big book so that it can lift it up higher so I can see you.
Yeah.
The book that it's sitting on is the Beastie Boys book that came out this past year. And so speaking of skipping, I got in trouble for skipping school to go get in line to buy Beastie Boys tickets.
Were you caught?
I was.
The cootie catcher does not lie.
So that is accurate, and my parents ended up letting me go to the concert. So.
Nice.
Oh my god, I love it.
All right, Sasha.
All right, pink. 3. 7.
Didn't you just? Oh wait,
7? Did she do just 7?
She did.
Yes. Sorry. A 5. I wasn't thinking. I heard 7 earlier and
Your friends will decorate your locker.
Oh my god, that was always the best.
Yes.
What the? Decorate positive or decorate negative?
Positive. Always positive.
Always positive.
When they like wrap your locker for your birthday.
Yes, fun.
You felt so loved.
That was always my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Courtney, it's your turn.
Yep.
Color, please.
Mauve.
MAUVE.
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
3.
3. Aw, your crush will take you to homecoming.
Oh my god!
You got all the lucky stuff with the guys tonight. You're not invited to my next sleeping over party.
I feel like Marsha's best friend.
Dude, she got disinvited.
She sure
did.
You
know, slumber parties in the media are not always a positive things. I was looking up and I was reminded that the first episode of Pretty Little Liars, they're
that's
having
a slumber party.
and
when Alison De
Laurentiis
Laurentiis goes missing.
And I was like, oh snap.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. They probably enjoyed sleepovers until that night.
Well, and even in the 20 seconds we see of the sleepover that they're having, it doesn't look fun because Allison's making a bunch of like catty comments to everybody.
Because she's mean.
Because like at one point, Emily, who is the one who is questioning her sexuality and ends up being saying like, hey, I'm gay. But at the time, she's super deeply closeted. She's like, I'm loving the new Beyonce video, which is a normal thing to say. And Allison goes, maybe a little too much, M, because Allison's a bitch.
Wow, she needs to bring that energy down several notches.
It's like, this is a fun night. I'm going to need you to like turn that ish down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you'll get uninvited.
Uninvite
So,
Allison.
did you ever play light as a feather, stiff as a board?
One of my mom's stories is about that.
Okay, we'll hear that on Spoop Hour.
We'll hear that on Spoop Hour, yes.
So you're going to have to stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But so the second Mad Libs that I chose is about light as a feather.
So when you said hard might actually be accurate.
Yeah, maybe.
That was for the other.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, nope. It is this one. It is this one. Okay. Another smelly sleepover game is hard as a feather, yellow as a board.
It kind of works. And
Hard
also
as a
it's
feather.
smelly because we don't have a designated tooting room. No, save it for the tooting room.
Okay, sorry, that is really funny. You'll need a periwinkle volunteer to lay down on the banana with her bicycles closed and her boobies folded across.
Her boobies folded across her chest.
Hold on, let me fold them.
Just like in a slumber party, I'm getting the giggle.
Oh, man.
Okay, where was I? Yeah, so, and her boobies folded across her chest.
Obviously.
Tell her to breathe peacefully and remain comfortable and relaxed. That was actually a normal sentence.
Yeah.
Then gather in a circle around her, placing 69 fingers.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Underneath her ice cream as you repeat the phase. Light as a cookie dough, stiff as a soft.
Stiff as a soft.
Stiff as a soft.
I can't even read this. Okay. On the count of 3, quickly lift her off the rainbow and raise her to the magician. Then lower her down slowly. That worked well too. Your cats will be completely amazed at this cute feat.
That is true. And they will be a cute feet.
Oh my god, cute feet.
Cute feet. The cats will be like, so cute.
Can I just say that some of these sentences were really appropriate and cute, and some of those were like bonkers.
What's bonkers about folding your boobies? How do you guys sleep at night?
69 fingers underneath her ice cream.
That's a big ice cream.
That's a lot of fingers. That's like
Almost 7
almost 7 friends. Missing one finger.
I mean, so it would be a slumber party and not a sleepover, judging by the number of fingers.
Right.
But you guys, this is great. This is my first slumber party since I was a kid, and it was so much fun.
We had fun too.
Thank you, Spoop Hour, for being here. Tell people where they can find Spoop Hour.
On the internet.
Yes, generally that's where we are. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Spoop Hour. That's SPOOP as in penguin.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also send us your spooky stories, be they from slumber parties, sleepovers, whatever, to spoophour@gmail.com.
Right now we're actually asking for stories about weird things your parents told you to keep you out of trouble. So, like, don't go into those woods. The leprechauns live there.
Or when you're at the sleepover, make sure you close the door, because otherwise the goblins will come.
Yeah.
And not
See, we talk about these in my lying and deception class, and I think a student was telling me that their mom would say, if you don't close the refrigerator, the penguins will die.
Yes, that.
Stuff like that.
I'll have
That's
to look
what we
at my
wanna
notes
hear.
to see if I have any other. But this has been a lot of fun, and I thank everyone for coming to our sleepover, slumber party, bunkin' party, pajama party.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Okay, my mom's here to pick me up now.
Oh, okay. Bye, Sasha. My mom's on her way. She got stuck in
Oh,
traffic.
God, you're going to have to stay longer.
Yay, you get to stay longer
Yay.
and form bonds that I'm going to be missing
No,
out
now we
on.
can talk about Sasha behind her back, Pretty Little Liar style.
Let's do it. All right, so until next time, friends, grab your friends, jammies, cootie catchers, and prepare not to sleep, but instead to talk all night, because without our friends, who would we be? Thanks Thanks for listening to Best Forevers. If you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and of course, share with a friend. Please be sure to follow Best Forevers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Best Forevers Pod, and I'm at Dr. Alysa Lucas on Twitter. You can always find the podcast webpage for more information at bestforeverspod.com, and share your stories of friendship by emailing me at bestforeverspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the movement to love on our friends more, check out the podcast on patreon.com/bestforeverspod. Now, friends, check out this recommended podcast that you must get in your ear holes immediately.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Justine. And we make up the Cutaways podcast.
We're watching the good, the bad, and the essentials of the romantic comedy genre.
So far, we've fallen in love with Cary Grant, met up with our terrible friend, Pal Joey, and had the desire to run our fingers through Patrick Dempsey's hair.
Join our slumber party for your ears every other week, brought to you in stereo from our blanket fort in Hollywood, California.
You can find and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or your favorite podcatcher. Our digital blanket fort can be found at thecutaways.com.
If you are the social butterfly types, you can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as @Cutaways Podcast.
Bye!